shut up now!
Today I will show you how to use an equation that quantifies the added value from playing a game. This means there's going to be a bit of maths involved.
Nerd!
Before we can start doing the equation, we need to have data. Ideally, the game in question should have been finished. That way we can get a final added value of it. It's not mandatory, but it will save doing the equation again when the game is finished. The game that we intend to use this equation with has to have been played for more than an hour. The reason for this is to justify doing the equation in the first place. There's no need to do maths to work out added value with a game that has been played for a short time. My equation is fit for one purpose, calculating added value for games that have been played over long periods of time. For this reason, conflicting data won't work with it. For example, giving a game 8 out of 10 that has been finished but played for less than an hour is conflicting data, because if it was good enough to get an 8, then why was it played for such a small amount of time? It doesn't make sense, keeping in mind I am specifically talking about games that demand many hours of playtime. The other extreme doesn't work with the equation either, low rating with long play times. Again, it's conflicting. Why would someone play something for a long time if they didn't like it? Neither of these examples have correlation, so if the data was put through the equation, the final value also won't make any sense. This equation cannot factor in people's feelings towards a game, it only works with facts and reasonable judgment. The first piece of data we need is time played on a game. The second piece of data is a subjective rating. I've used a standard 1 to 10 scale using decimals as everyone is familiar with it. Now I'm going to show you how to work out added value using my figures from Dying Light. It cost me £10.50 and I played it for 45 hours, 23 minutes, and I gave it 7.5 out of 10. The first thing we have to do is change minutes into a decimal hour scale. To do this, we divide 23 minutes by 60, which comes out at 0.383 recurring. We round that down to 0.38. What we're doing here is changing the scale from minutes, of which there are 60 in an hour, to a decimal number scale. With time now converted to the correct scale, we can move on to working out the subjective value. This is really quick and easy to calculate. Let's take the 7.5 rating I gave Dying Light and divide it by the time played, which we just converted to decimal. So 7.5 divide 45.38 equals 0.165. Round that up to 0.17 or 17 pence, then times the 0.17 by time played. So 0.17 times 45.38, that comes to £7.71. This is the added value based on my subjective rating, and it's as simple as that. What we can do now is add £7.71 to what I paid for Dying Light. So £7.71 plus £10.50, £18.21. What we get is what I like to think of as the price I should have paid for the game based on what I know now from working out the added value. Here comes the psychological part. At first I didn't agree with £18.21 because I paid £10.50 for it. Naturally, any price above £10.50 I will see as being too expensive. Let me put it this way, initially I wouldn't recommend anyone pay more than £10.50 for Dying Light because that's what I paid for it. However, after doing this equation and considering the time I spent on it and the fun I got out of it, I think £18.21 is actually a very fair price for it. Which moves me on to the great thing about being a bargain hunter. If you keep an eye on prices and know when to buy something, you give yourself maximum opportunity to maximise added value.
You think I could have gotten more?
This doesn't just apply to games, of course, it applies to everything that you can buy. I came up with this equation when I thought about time spent on cheap games. I found that they often fall into one of two distinctions: great value or insignificant loss. But focusing on bargains is how I come up with this equation. Out of curiosity, I wanted to quantify the added value I got from grabbing a bargain.